You're listening to Systemic Era Podcast. The failure was designed.
Democrats could flip the House, but the Senate is a whole different story. Analysis based on an article by Alex Henderson. The Senate is built to shrink democracy. One branch, two realities. The reporting says Democrats are positioned for a House win in 2026, but the Senate remains a brutal climb because they would need to take seats in states Trump won by double digits. That is the actual political terrain, not a neutral contest, but a system that forces a national majority to run through a chamber designed to overrepresent land, not people. Our favors the incumbent. Donald Trump is the center of gravity here. He holds the presidency, and that office sets the terms of the fight. A Democratic House would create oversight and subpoenas. A Democratic Senate would slow his nominees. That is why the stakes are real. The article is useful insofar as it admits that the barrier is not a lack of voter interest in the abstract, but a map and a chamber structure tilted toward the party already in power. The Times framing leans toward horse race abstraction, as if Democrats are merely facing obstacles. That softens the fact that Republicans are working from institutional advantage, redistricting, Senate geography, and the long afterlife of Republican state power. The obstacle is not whether. It is design. The Senate is not a meritocracy. The article spends a lot of time on miracles, problems, and individual races like Maine, Ohio, Alaska, Texas, and Iowa. That language makes the Senate look like a series of unlucky coin flips. It is not. It is a chamber where the same vote counts differently depending on where you live, and where winning a national popular edge still leaves you short. That is why the Susan Collins race matters less as a drummer than as a symptom. Democrats are being asked to assemble a near-impossible coalition in a chamber that already gives smaller, redder states outsized leverage. Falling that a challenge understates the built-in minority rule. Gas prices as political discipline. Patrick Ruffini's point about inflation and gas prices is not just an economic observation. It is a theory of political control. The families are driven by daily prices that feel bad enough. They punish the party associated with the White House. The article notes that gas prices are the scoreboard people drive by every day, which is a blunt admission that material conditions, not messaging, will drive the midterms. That also exposes the limits of elite political commentary. The story treats inflation as a variable in an election model, but for voters it is leverage over survival. When the price of gas or groceries becomes the central political metric, that is a failure of governing, not just a polling trend. Pennsylvania as a power node. The article's focus on Josh Shapiro is revealing. He is described less as a governor than as a parsable machine for translating Democratic strength into House gains. That is what serious politics looks like, not vibes, but institutional reach. If Democrats can flip Pennsylvania districts, they strengthen their path to the House and potentially widen the map for the party's future. But even here, the piece drifts toward inter-party mythology, treating Shapiro as a future-proofing project rather than a test of whether Democrats can convert popular support into durable power. The real question is not who gets profile. It is whether the party can start depending on a handful of popular figures to compensate for a structurally hostile system. What this story really shows. The deeper pattern is simple. American democracy is being forced through institutions that reward minority rule, geographic distortion, and economic blame shifting. Trump benefits from that structure. Republicans benefit from that structure. Democrats are left to win miracles in chambers designed to make ordinary majorities feel inadequate. The story is framed as a midterm forecast. It is more accurately a map of how American political power has been rigged to make democratic control harder than it should be. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to AlterNet for today's article. With the automated voice of Riza, thanks for listening.